Hello, my name is Park Ranger Helen Overman, and welcome to Kinder Farm Park. Here at Kinder Farm Park, we focus on farming. The history that we have here is that Gustav Kinder and his younger brother Henry Kinder bought several parcels of land to start a farming business. The farming business started off as truck farming. What truck farming is, they would grow various fruits and vegetables and then load it into trucks. Started off as actually horse-drawn carriages, and then later, of course, mechanical trucks. And they would take it to the closest local city, which would be Baltimore City. Eventually, in the 1940s, due to the invention of refrigerated trucks and also refrigerated railroad carts, that became obsolete. And larger farms in southern Maryland were able to much more mass produce those fruits and vegetables to sell to the Baltimore City. So then, in the 1940s, the Kinder families then moved to cattle raising. They had about roughly 1,500 cattle in the land you see now. And then eventually in the 1960s, they started selling off their land into housing developments. So if you live in the area, you probably are on original farm land. In 1979, they donated 288 acres to Anne Arundel County Rec and Parks to the park you see now, which is Kinder Farm Park. The tobacco barn you see here at Kinder Farm Park is actually originally from Bell Branch Park, located in Crofton, Maryland. This is a Brick Company 1930s sawmill. The blade is 48 inches wide. It takes at least 4 people to operate this mill. One sawyer, a sawyer's helper to turn the logs, and one person to remove the saw boards, and at least one person to stack the saw boards.
The Friends of Kinder Farm Park bought this sawmill to give demonstrations of the old days. Every farm, just about all these tobacco barns around in the area were built with a portable sawmill.
This is our Blacksmith forge. It's run by the Chesapeake Forge Blacksmithing Shop. Here you can see a 100-year-old trade in action on Sundays from 1 till 4 p.m. The hammer is simply not a hammer to the blacksmith. The hammer comes in various weights and shapes that help them pound the metal into their desired design.
The way that the forges work is we have a fire pot in there. It's basically an inverted pyramid, and we blow air up through it. And then the ash from the burnt coal will fall down into the bottom. There's a can underneath called a tweer, and that gets emptied periodically so that we can maintain airflow. 2 of our forges have hand-cranked bellows or blowers, and 2 of them are electric. A couple of us prefer the hand-cranked ones because it's kind of a zen moment. You know, you sit there with one hand and then you hammer with the other hand, and you get into this whole rhythm and you just kind of lose yourself in the work.
I've been doing this for about 3 years, and I'm currently attending a school in England to study this professionally. Hereford, England, sort of between Birmingham and Cardiff. I'm in England because there are really only 2 options that I've seen in the world that if you want to study blacksmithing professionally. One is in England, and the other is in southern Illinois. So it's kind of an easy choice for me.
We have a lot of mild steel, which is steel with a fairly low percentage of carbon, which doesn't harden. And then we also have a pretty fair amount of higher carbon steel, so things like springs. And that is more suitable, that can be hardened, and that's more suitable for things like tools, chisels, screwdrivers, knives, that kind of thing.
Basically all farms in like the Depression era and before would have had a small blacksmith, if not a shop, a setup, because it was much quicker to repair your tools or your parts of your tractor than it was to go into town, put in an order, wait 2 to 3 weeks, miss your entire planting season or miss your harvest season. You know, they had to really be able to be self-sufficient when it came to a lot of the tools and everything.
This farmhouse was built in 1926. The house was occupied by Henry Kinder and his wife Hilda and their 8 children. This Historical Society of the Friends of Kinder Farm Park have turned the house into a museum. It is now preserves the life of a farming family in the 1930s. It is open for tours the second Saturday of each month from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Before electricity and refrigerators, ice houses served as a holding place for food and medicine that needed to be preserved in a cool place. This particular ice house was built in the early 1900s and kept butter and milk for the Kinder's small milk delivering business. In winter, it held the ice that was chopped from the ponds at Kinder. Heavy concrete walls with a cellar floor insulated with sawdust helped keep the ice solid. When electricity came to the farm in the 1930s, the ice house was then used to keep medicine for livestock cold. This barn is believed to have been built in the 1950s. Many barns built in the 1950s were built with large open spaces to store farm equipment. This barn has two main purposes. First was the storage of large farm equipment. The second was to store hay. These 4 silos were instrumental in the Kinder's cattle production. Growing their own corn and grain to feed the cattle, the Kinders were able to store mass quantities in these silos.